Hello, hello everyone. We are back with Metta Musings and Mugs. It is another week gone by, but a fresh new week started. And tonight we've got a fantastic guest. I'm so excited. Julia Scott, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, very good. How are you?
Yeah, really good, really good. So I'm so excited to do this. This is my very first Facebook Live. So thank you, Bianca, for helping me to get past this fear.
And, that's awesome. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. Very courageous of you to take up the offer. Very good.
It's not as scary as I thought. I'm pretending it's you and me.
Plus a few other people who will come through as soon as they hop on as well. Absolutely. We're just going to have a really wonderful conversation, and I'm not one for interviewing as in question by question type scenario, so we're just going to have a really casual conversation. And it's all about getting to know you a little bit more, because you are part of the Connecting Soul Beings community. And also, I wanted to basically let the world know what you do, because I'm fascinated by the work that you do and how you do it, the tools that you're using, the combination of that. So I really wanted to share that with the rest of the world as well. And I'm really excited about it. But before we dive in, what we usually do with Metta Musings and Mugs is to basically find out what is the mug that you brought tonight and what is your favorite beverage? Is there a story behind it?
Not really. It's kind of it's a brand that my mother always uses, and I love aesthetics, and because I am also an interior designer, so I love beautiful design. So this is my current mug, and I love yours. It's very good. But mine is a Scandinavian brand, Itala, one of my favorites, and I have them in all different colors, but I specifically chose this red one because naturally I am metal and water elements in Feng Shui, which I'll talk about in a little while, and the fire bends the metal and melts my metal, so I become more even keeled and not so straight to 180, which is the accounting.
Exactly. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll do a little bit of an intro for everybody who is not familiar with what you do and who you are. You are an absolutely beautiful, beautiful person. I met Julia a little while ago through our mutual friend, Summer Fox, and we are both a member of the Lioness Society. And it's been an absolute pleasure working with Julia ever since. Julia is basically focusing on educating women about money and mindset to strengthen their place in society. And Julia has come with an extensive background in chartered accounting, and which she's done in Australia and New Zealand. And she's also worked as a tax agent and a financial advisor. So she's got a massive variety in an experience in wealth management and taxation. And she's also certified money mindset and feng shui practitioner, I would say. And she currently integrates intuitive and financial tools to teach women how to open their mind to success whilst they are managing their money with ease, style, and grace. And she started Wealth, Luck and Wealth. And that's the company that she's now working in, that she's actually founded. So very, very honored to have you.
Oh, thanks, Bea. I'm really glad to be here. I'm honoured to be on your show. Like, you're like a bit of a rock star. I've never done it. I love what I do, and I'm just so glad that I finally found my purpose. So, because for so long I just didn't feel like an accountant, and there was just something missing. And I came across Feng Shui by absolute mistake. I just came across this book and I found it fascinating. And then I finally just read up as much as I could for a number of years. And then I became certified. And then I became certified in Money Mindset, which is kind of also intuitive. And I just thought, why are more people not integrating this into their life? It's like you're missing a piece of the magic, you know?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I love the fact as well, because we're talking about money often as energy, and Feng Shui is all about energy as well. So it's actually a perfect match, isn't it?
Yes, and in fact, I always say how you do money is how you do everything. And so if you drill into or look into a bit more carefully your money habits that you have now and your money personality as such, you can you can then just spread that across the rest of your whole life, and you can find synergies. And so then we can adjust all of that and rebalance it in a more positive way by including not only money mindset mantras and things like that, but also Feng Shui principles of your surroundings affect your mindset. So there's really three elements. That's why it's called the love, the luck, and the wealth. The wealth comes last. It's actually a byproduct of the self-worth that you find in yourself once you start looking at your money mindset and your surroundings.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's really interesting, you know, because the focus is usually on the wealth, right? And especially when we talk about abundance and we want to create that abundance, the first thing that comes into our minds is wealth. But there is an abundance of everything, right? Abundance of energy, abundance of health. And I love it when you say wealth actually comes as a byproduct, that when you focus on the first two, and then you sell the energies that come with, you know, that's awesome.
It's like the law of attraction. You have to be who you want to be first, and then you attract it to you. So you have to believe and have faith and just do everything you can to act as if you're already there, and then it can't help but come into your life. So many synergies happen. You get new opportunities to find new income streams or new partnerships, new jobs. Because your mind is just opened, because you have these new Feng Shui eyes on, and you see things differently. So what you look at begins to change, and therefore your reality changes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love it. Before we continue, I just want to invite everyone to say hello, pop your comment below. We can see you, and we can actually put them up on the screen, as I can do now here. Henny Van Beek, she says, "Good morning, Moppy." This is actually my mum. And Moppy is really home to me. Thank you. Hi, Mum.
Hi, Mum.
Yeah, she lives in the Netherlands, so it's 9 a.m. in the morning for her.
Oh, right, it's good.
Awesome. If people that are watching have not pressed on streamyard.com/Facebook, then we can't actually see your name or your image. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, and then you can comment and we can actually see who's responding. And if you have any questions for Julia as well, please feel free to pop them below as well, and then we can ask them for you. Okay, someone else has just popped in. Hello, made it happily. Now, I can't who that is. That's okay.
So I see what you mean. So we can see people's comments, but not their name.
Yeah, so I can actually see it here in the group. This is actually Raven Christ, and Raven lives in the Netherlands as well. And she made it. Yay! Awesome, fantastic, great to have you. So now you talked a little bit about the Feng Shui and an introduction around the energy and what it can do for us. But for those who don't know, what is Feng Shui?
Oh, Feng Shui is, it originated about at least 4,000 years ago. And it was a way, there's three types of luck, basically, in the world. There's earth luck, heaven luck, and human luck. And the heaven luck is what you're born into, like whether you were born male or female, in a wealthy home or a not so wealthy home. in a wealthy country or not, in a disastrous relationship or not. And then the human luck is your mindset, so your thoughts, and how if we control our thoughts, we can control our reality. And then the Feng Shui is the third type of luck, which most people forget, because we all know how to pray and how to create good thoughts, but we forget about the luck of our surroundings and the earth luck. And it equates to 33.3% of our luck. And I think that's just fascinating. So I find that people who start looking into Feng Shui and make adjustments in their surroundings have massive shifts in their life. And it's just such a beautiful thing, because we are affected by our surroundings. It influences our luck. For example, if you are sitting in a dark, dank room with no light and no beautiful things around you, you can't help but feel depressed. Whereas if you're in a light room with beautiful artwork that inspires you, then of course you're going to uplift your emotions. So that's at the most simplified level, but it becomes more of an intuitive science when you start looking at your surroundings with Feng Shui eyes, and all sorts of things are being taken literally, especially art that is in your surroundings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's an interesting balance, isn't it? I mean, before we actually get live, we were actually talking about where I'm sitting right now in my office, and I have had a few conversations with Julia around what my office used to look like.
Yeah.
I've actually made a few adjustments, and even now she was like, okay, let's do a few more adjustments around, where you're at, because there's a lot of green happening right now. And that can cause, perhaps the way I understood it, you can't see the forest through the trees. It may cause confusion, not having the clear direction, all those things as well. So you said to counterbalance that with something that represents metal.
Yes, because you've got a lot of wood going on. So
yeah, exactly. It's really fascinating to learn all these different elements. But not only that, I've sort of been always fascinated by Feng Shui. And, even having my desk with certain elements at a corner or somewhere, for example, family pictures and books in a certain corner, to invite that in. Yeah. But to explain more into the detail and how you use it, and hearing you talk about all the other elements like wood and fire and how it all combines.
Yeah. It's just fascinating.
The way you do have that implemented.
Yeah. And I just noticed, what's that behind your head? Is that wood as well? That thing hanging behind you?
Yeah, that's handmade.
Yeah, but a small wood. So what everyone needs a bit of all the elements, basically, but we're naturally we naturally attract and feel more comfortable with certain types of elements. So as I said before, mine are metal and water, which is why you can tell by the clothes somebody wears. Like I know you tend to wear a lot of black and green, which is water and wood. But if we have too much of one thing, it turns into a hindrance rather than a power. So we need to keep everything rebalanced. So it's a constant sort of subtle rebalancing. It doesn't have to be massive shifts. You don't have to go out and buy new things. It's just rearranging stuff, maybe introducing a new color into the room that you spend the most time with, or into your wardrobe. Before, I need to also always inject a bit of fire everywhere I go. So I try to wear red lipstick, and I've got my red mug, and I've got like a red jacket that I'll put on even when I'm just working at home with, if I need to get something done, because red is that high energy. But otherwise, I tend to be very accountant-like and almost surgical. So we all have our things. Nobody has it exactly right, but it's something that you're constantly tweaking. And it just makes it,
isn't it? to actually tweak all things as well. So elements of Feng Shui is wood, fire, water, metal, and air. Is that correct?
Earth, not air.
Earth. Okay.
Yeah. So
wood, fire, water, metal, earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
I just wanted to put that in the comments.
It actually is in a different order though. It starts with water because water is death and birth. It's basically the embryo in the womb is water. It's not dead and it's not alive. And then we go on to wood, which is growth, lots of ideas, lots of scheduling and things like what you've got going on. And then we go on into at the top of the cycle is fire. And then we move to earth and then finally metal. So these 5 elements can be applied to absolutely anything on a micro level or a macro level. For example, like the whole planet can be, and the life cycle of the planet can be put into these 5 elements. So when humans first arrived or first came about, that would be the water element. We're all very new and just learning. This is kind of the Stone Age. And then we move up to the wood, which is more the Renaissance and kind of new ideas and religions and ideas, and lots of rules coming in. And then we move up to the fire, which I believe is where we are now, which is we've had a lot of, over the last sort of my lifetime and the last generation, we've had a lot of wars. We've had Iraq and the terrorism attacks. We've had Trump. All about to return to earth, which is more about nurturing and the female and just everyone finding a bit of grounding, which I believe is nature's way, reason why Corona came in, to calm everybody down and calm the fire, so that we could all settle in the earth phase. Yeah,
beautiful. Because I've also heard that it's when you mentioned, the feminine side as well, it's actually splitting up the than and the masculine side. So that we can come back down again, so that we're not getting too confused about where, and you really earth it. Yeah.
Earth is feminine and fire is masculine. So that's the yang, high energy, fast and just angry almost when it's out of control. But, it can be good in the beginning when it's small because it keeps you warm and it's nice to have, but then it can get out of control. So then we have the female side comes in, and just like everything in life, there's nothing against men. It's like we need both of us and we need to work together. So I'm not against men. I love men. I just believe we all need to be in partnership rather than one more dominant than the other, which is what it's been throughout history, really.
Yeah, definitely. But also within ourselves, within ourselves, we're often fighting that masculine with the femininity as well. And trying to find that balance can be a lifelong journey.
It can, and I truly believe women have we've almost been suppressed throughout the ages from speaking our truth and being seen. You go back to the witch hunts, however many thousands of years, hundreds and thousands of years ago even, and we're still recovering from that, and we're just only now finding our voice. Like we're only just now stepping into positions of power around the world. It's still developing.
Absolutely, and it's happening fast now as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We're all being forced to literally look at where we're at, who we are, and to step out of our everyday being as a human being to more align with, like you say as well, with the masculine, with the feminine, but to actually come back to ourselves and to find that. And you can see a lot of people are coming out of the woodworks to help others to do that, because we do need that guidance and the coaching and the mentoring to be able to do that as well.
Yeah, and I think that's why the coaching industry has taken off so much. It really coaching only came about in the 70s. It's really quite new, and it's only just taking off, now. But women especially, we're creating businesses faster than ever because now we have the internet, of course, which means that we can work from home with children, or because that's been the barrier to entry for women. That's why they, lose that momentum of their career, and it's all shifting. And there's studies that have come out recently that say that by the year 2030, in America, women will hold 70% of America's wealth. That's within less than 10 years. That's how fast it's shifting. And let's face it, money in the hands of women generally, I believe, is actually better because we're wired to nurture. We're wired to make decisions differently to men when it comes to women. We look after our families and children. We're really connected to our children, which is probably literally because they've grown up inside of us. We have more connection to them. I just think it's a wonderful thing, and I'm really passionate about helping women to understand money terms and to educate, help them automate their own finances and create some wealth, and of course open their mind to new possibilities on creating new income streams and just thinking big, because we all think too. And it's all it's just between here and here is 80% of it, and the rest of it is just the mechanics of how to invest or how to budget and whatnot.
Yeah. So why do you believe, or do you have an opinion on this, perhaps might be a better wording, why is it that women are always, at least the ones that I've been talking to, are always struggling with receiving money?
Because it's all got to do with going back through the ages and our suppression and whatnot. And naturally, we are receivers. That's how we were made. That's our womb. That's we hold things and we grow things and we receive things. But throughout the ages, we've been, men have told us that we just need to give more. And it sounds counterintuitive at first, but actually I think we just need to receive more and stop giving so much, because that's actually more of the masculine side of things, giving, because they're the providers. Throughout history, I'm talking about, not necessarily now. So I think we just need to, which is why I love that term, wealth consciousness, because we all need, especially as women, to elevate our wealth consciousness, so that it's safe for us to receive, and it's safe for us to seek money and our own money, because money means freedom, and we cannot make our own decisions unless we have our own money, or at least understand, if you're in a partnership, where the money is in your partnership, and take active, be involved in decisions and whatnot, and play an active role, because otherwise it's just like love. If one partner does all the loving, the other partner ends up resenting the other partner, and it just doesn't work out. There's no natural balance there. We have to step up. And it's not that you don't trust your partner or anything, but it's just taking responsibility, because at the end of the day, you're here for yourself. And I know that sounds selfish, but you can't help your children if you don't have any money. And if something happens for all those women out there, who are married to men that, we all have friends who get divorced, and then that's what happened to me, and I didn't see it coming. None of us do. All our friends can see it coming, apparently, but we can't. And
we're always the last ones to know.
We're always the last ones to know. So I don't ever want to see women being stuck in those positions like I was, where I didn't know where the money was. And I'm an accountant, and I didn't know. So I'm thinking, how the hell does everyone else know, what's going on? And I will never, ever let myself play second to anybody else when it comes to money. I'm there as a partner or all for myself if I'm not with somebody. But there's nothing wrong with stepping up and asking where things are and what you can do to help.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so important to be across that, it's so important. And I've definitely learned that myself, especially in the last few years, to be able to actually see, where your money is and how you're actually working with money, which I also see now as a partnership. It's not just, I'm afraid of it, don't want to touch it. In the beginning, I didn't even want to know about money.
No, I know. That's so important.
It causes heartache, it causes stress, it causes bad relationships. Money is only here to create havoc. That was my belief. I dealt with it. But in the last few years, slowly but surely started to, okay, I'm actually going to work with money and I want to be open to receiving it. And it's still a bit of a challenge, but it's getting better more and more. Plus, when I was really young, I was raised and grew up with a belief that I was told, I have a hole in my hand, you can't hang on to money, because I was spending all the time.
Yeah.
Right? So that was a belief that I held on to until I was about 35, 36 years old.
Yeah, I know that. And they're so powerful.
It's hugely powerful. We grow up with, what we learn from our parents and people around us when we grow up, that has such an amazing impact on us, whether it's bad or positive. It is still an amazing impact, and we don't often realize that.
Yeah. I know, it's huge. And until you actually sit down and take a look at these beliefs and fears, because they're all just running as a program in your subconscious, and it's stealth, right? You don't even know why you make those decisions. And you just find yourself sabotaging good things all the time. Like some people can't hold on to money, and it seems the harder they try to look after it, that's the worst. More accidents happen and just dramas happen. It all just manifests because this programming is running underneath, and your subconscious controls your conscious. And if you don't change that programming and let go of these limiting beliefs, it will run your life forever, and you'll be forever having this bad luck, so to speak, with money. But it's so easy to fix. And I think everyone's got some kind of limiting beliefs. They don't necessarily go away. You just find new levels of beliefs. So somebody might have had a belief that they couldn't earn six figures in their own business, and they really struggle to bust through that subconscious limitation. And they get there and they're like, this is great, I've done it. And then they have trouble busting through the 500,000 or 1 million, and there's a new belief there and there and there. So even millionaires still have money blocks, but they're just different types, and they're just more elevated. But of course, I'd much rather have money blocks up here than down here.
Don't we all?
So, it's really quite easy to clear the ones down here, and once you take a look at it and you realize what's going on, because it's just like these divorces we're talking about, you don't know it, and everyone else seems to know it around you, but it doesn't click with you because you've got this filter on and you just can't see it. You can't see the wood for the trees until you sit down and have somebody like a coach or something to take you through it, or to learn about all this money mindset shifting.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of the things that you currently do? Like, how does it work for you to have that integration of Feng Shui and the money mindset?
Yeah, well, I always start with money mindset because that's the biggest component, and everybody has money blocks. Doesn't matter who you are, everyone's got them. It's just, finding the biggest ones, smashing it, finding the next one, smashing it. So I start by helping people to understand their money archetypes, so what their underlying money values are. So I have a free course that is on my website, which I'll put a link in to. So people can do that and find out what their archetypes are, and that helps to shine the light on their shadow side as well, and where they struggle with money. And it also highlights your gifts. So that's where I usually start, and then we do exercises to shift some of those beliefs. And then I always put a little bit of Feng Shui and just a sprinkling across everywhere, because not everyone knows what Feng Shui is. So I don't necessarily even call it Feng Shui. It's quite intuitive. So always decluttering. That's huge. Not only your surroundings, but your wallet and your purse. Definitely declutter that and look after it.
What do you declutter?
Yeah, definitely. That's massive. Or if your handbag or whatever is feeling a bit old and tatty, upgrade it. Like, doesn't cost that much to get a new handbag. Like, it's not like you're spending $10,000. It's just, go out and just treat yourself to something nice to house your money and show it that you care and pay attention to it. Clean it out. Always keep a $100 bill in your purse or your wallet, not necessarily to spend, just so that whenever you open your wallet, you feel wealthy, because as we talked about before, you have to feel it in order to attract it. Things like that. And then once we get moving on the shifting the mindset, then I start helping them with their finances. And I teach them how to set their goals financially and how to put a plan in place to meet that. I don't like budgets because they're a bit negative and they're limiting, and it's like a scarcity mindset. I like to focus on income. And naturally, so naturally, excuse me, it's going to have a drink. I've got pink red drink as well. So in there. I just then I help them with all setting up their finances, automating their finances, so that they're not capable of sabotaging themselves, because it's running on its own program. And you've got your own automations to move money into savings accounts every payday, or every, if you have your own business, every time you get a big sale through or something, and then having a plan for that savings once you get to a certain level to start investing. And then, the rest all looks after itself, because once you elevate your wealth consciousness and your mindset and declutter your space to create room for these new ideas and breakthroughs, everything just shifts, and it's just like magic. It's great.
That's awesome. I love the way you say, declutter your wallet and actually make space for receiving. And I think I even definitely previously through one of our meetings, I think, to actually put some money in your wallet and have it there consistently, so that you see that you've got the wealth coming in, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. I usually give my clients a money tracking sheet as well, so that they're forced to record how much money is coming into their life daily. And if it's zero, you have to record a zero, because that's the only way you're going to face reality, that you're not making enough money, and you need to bust through that. And it's all just about getting out of your comfort zone and realizing that you're the one who's holding yourself back, not everybody else. The universe is there to help you. It's so keen to help you. And we're the ones who keep blocking it with all this stuff going on up here, like beliefs that money's dirty, or it's greedy, or I can't be spiritual and be wealthy as well, where it's quite the opposite. Say Mother Teresa was actually very wealthy. She attracted millions and millions of dollars for all of her work. She needed that money to do what she did. So there's nothing wrong with money as long as it's in the right hands of the right people, because it purely just amplifies the person you already are. So if you're a good person, money can only spread that joy and help you to make it better for everybody around you.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that too, for sure. Yeah. Such an interesting topic. I mean, so many people are now focused on that too. you know, especially in this day and age with COVID, and a lot of people have been made redundant, or, you know, they had to leave their jobs. For us as entrepreneurs, it's always something that's on our mind continuously, is the money aspect.
Yes, and so if you can imagine, if you can alleviate that burden from your mind and clutter your mind of all these negative thoughts, imagine how much more room is available in your mind to come up with new business ideas and stuff. We're just cluttering ourselves with all this unnecessary burden of worry, because we all know worry doesn't get you anywhere. Worry is not going to fix your money problems. In fact, it makes it worse, because it lowers your IQ, and it makes you, you know, all that stress and everything. It kind of just takes energy up, and we want to put that energy into positive things and proactive things, rather than ruminating on stuff in the past that, let's face it, past, it's happened. There's nothing you can do about it. Just move forward, forgive yourself, and move forward. It's a choice.
Exactly. Yes, that's so right. So right. So how can we deal with worry in a way that we can actually just either let it go or have less of it in the beginning? What have you do?
Yeah, I think the first thing you need to do is write out every worry that you have and all the worst case scenarios you can possibly come up with as to what is worrying you. And once you see it on paper, it's very different to what's happening in your head. And when you see it on paper, you'll realize how unlikely that is to happen. Not only that, but it hasn't happened. It's something that hasn't happened yet, and it probably won't happen. It's in the future. It's just as likely something awesome is going to happen. Nobody saw Corona coming. Nobody's going to see this next beautiful, amazing thing the planet's going to receive in the next, 12 months. It's possible. Like, whatever you focus on, you will get more of. So if you keep focusing on your fears and your worries, you'll attract and manifest that into your reality. So I always say to write them down, take a really good look at it, and ask yourself whether this is actually true. Because sometimes there might be a few things that you do need to take action on. That's not the end of the world, but it's probably not half as serious as you thought. And it up or burn it or something. I don't know, just get it out of your system and get rid of it and move forwards and forgive yourself. Forgiveness is so important.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself for past money mistakes, but your parents for maybe teaching you bad money habits or those sayings that you're talking about with holes in your hands. Forgiveness is massive. Just letting go of that. It's part of the decluttering, but it's in here. It's Feng Shui inside of us, because surroundings really just reflect what's going on inside of us. So if you have a lot of clutter around your office and whatnot, that means that there's all these decisions waiting to be made, and it's massive procrastination, and all that stuff is also in here. So you might think all these papers are just papers on the ground, but every time you walk past them, you remember and wire new pathways in your brain of what those papers represent, and it's going on in the background, in the subliminal background of your day to day, and you're constantly worrying about it. So clear it away, get rid of it. I don't even care if you have to shove it in a cupboard or something if you don't have time to look at it. Just get it out of your immediate peripheral vision, and write all of your worries. Take a good look at whether it's actually real or not. Do what you need to do, forgive and tear it up and throw it away and move forwards, because moving forwards is what helps you to get in flow, because all of Feng Shui is about flow and alignment. And if you're blocking that flow by worrying too much and not taking action, that's when you get stuck in life. And that's when you manifest all of these unlucky situations and whatnot, because you're not in flow. And it's really all starts with us. It's not other people's problems. We attract situations into our life that reflect what our soul is trying to communicate to us. Have you heard? You know about this, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I just had a frog in my throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what you absolutely think about manifesting your body, but also brings it out to an external why you attract it. Have you heard of the, I'm just going to pull it up here actually, the emotional scale by Abraham Hicks?
I do love Abraham Hicks. I haven't heard of the emotional scale. I surprised because every day. Yeah.
I know, it's in the book Ask and It Is Given, and it talks about the different levels of emotions that we have. And therefore you manifest those, right?
Yeah.
So for example, if you're which is the lowest of the emotions, with that, you know, depression, despair, powerlessness, grief, fear, worries, all those sorts of things, they are at a lower vibrational level. So your energy is being pulled down as well.
Yeah.
So when it's all in alignment and flow, you also want to recognize where you're at in terms of your worries and your fears and that sort of thing. So with this scale, you can identify where you are. And then if you want to start feeling better, you go to the next level up. So the top one is love and joy. You can't jump from fear to love and joy.
No. And I was quite amazed when I read that anger is actually a bit higher than I thought, because anger means you're actually taking action and you're letting stuff out, and you're like, usually you shout and yell, so you're like getting the flow out of your body, and I found that fascinating.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I work on with my clients as well, is to identify where they are at that scale and how can we bring you to the next level up, even though it's still in a negative space that gives you that clutter as well, because when we're in a negative space, we have a lot of clutter happening. So slowly you can declutter in that sense as well, and it works so well. And when you said about declutter your space, declutter your mind, I mean, I always find myself, if I'm down and out, or I'm stressed, or I'm angry even, and I can't let it out, I clean the house from top to bottom.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, because I want everything tidy, I want everything clear, I want everything clean. Because if I see mess, it's absolutely true. My head becomes a mess too.
Yeah, definitely.
For me, sometimes it works the reverse as well. If my outside space is messy, or, you know, whatever it is, it causes me to feel stressed, or, you know, anxious, or closed in, or whatever it is. So I need to clean. And it's like, get out of my way, leave the house. So it's really interesting how physical exercise also works to help with that decluttering or any sort of negative emotions that you may have. Because you feel how
Well, Louise Hay always said to actually, when you're upset about something or angry or worried or something, to grab a pillow and literally scream into it and smash it. And I did try that once, and it did work. I didn't think it would, but it did.
Well, last week, Lana and I did not scream in a pillow, but we literally screamed in the house. We closed the windows and we went 1, 2, 3, and we just screamed opposite each other. And then we cracked up laughing. It was so good, you know. There were so many things happening in the last couple of months that we just needed to let it out. And how can we do that? Okay, let's scream. You know, and then we just laughed, and then we put the music on and we danced. It was fantastic. It was so good to just let that all out. And we both needed it, you know. So it's amazing stuff. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm so I just love this conversation. I love speaking to people about intuitive and spiritual stuff, because you don't get to speak about it much, especially in my world of finance and accounting. Everyone just looks at you like you're crazy, but I'm like, I know what's going on. Ones who don't know what's going on.
So at what point did you start to be more connected and have more interest in the spiritual side of life?
I literally had a moment. I just started meditating. This is probably about 7 years ago. I was in the depths of a deep depression. I was going through my divorce, and I was really upset. And I started meditating to try and get calm and find some peace. And I literally had a connection with my grandmother on my mother's side, who passed when I was really little. And it was just undeniable. Like, I've never had anything like that before, and it hasn't come again since. And it was just undeniably a visit from her to me. And it was so clear and so vivid, and I could feel and hear and see everything. And I think once that happened, it really did open my eyes up to everything. And I was like, this is because I've been reading about it a lot too, and I just had never connected with meditation, and I was almost afraid of it because which I find happens a lot when I start talking to people about Feng Shui and stuff, they get all awkward and they're like, don't want to know about it because they're like, that's too weird, like, because they're not conscious, I suppose. But I think that was the moment that I actually literally became conscious, and I have been just meditating as often as I can now, and I never quite get back to that place I was in that particular at that particular moment, but I find I have so much more clarity now, and my intuition is so strong, and I do not hesitate to follow it, and it's never let me down. I've made some massive decisions, especially with my divorce, and everyone around me was saying, no, don't do that. You're making a wrong decision. And I just felt it in my intuition. It was so right. And of course, everything was right. And they're all like, how did you know that? And I'm like, I just did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how do you trust that?
How do you trust it? Never make a decision out of fear. And that was the biggest lesson for me, because when I was going through my divorce, it was so frightening, and I was just in fear constantly. I was in fear physically, emotionally. I had an AVO out on my ex-husband. I had been cut off financially. I had nothing. And I was emotionally just drained. I had no support. And I was, making silly mistakes because I was so frightened. And once I started to just try to make mistakes from here rather than from fear, every time I did it, there was a massive, it was like the universe was going, hi, we're here, and they finally, it was like it was trying to talk to me, so it would like totally over deliver on whatever that particular heartfelt decision was. And I had so many synchronicities start happening, and I was like, well, this has got to be real. And I just read as much as I could about it. And now I can't believe I did make decisions out of fear, and I don't know why I did that, because I look back on it now and I think how silly. Of course that's going to turn out wrong. Like, and I can see it so clearly in other people now. And not that I would judge anybody, but like I just try and help them to understand that there is another way to make decisions. You don't have to just fight back all the time, and you can just choose your own path. You don't have to do what somebody else tells you to do. You don't have to, if somebody does something wrong to you, you don't have to necessarily even retaliate. You just stay in your own lane, and then you will stop attracting all this drama into your life. I used to have so much drama in my life, and now it's actually quite boring. It's really good. I've only got good things happening.
Boring. You all look like you've got so many wonderful things going on. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it's quite the opposite. Like, I just have moments now of just absolute love and beauty, and it just comes to me just randomly, and I'm just in awe of just life. And I'm so happy, and that's amazing for me, considering, 5 or 6 years ago I was seriously depressed. Probably even think about tomorrow, let alone the future. And I think that's the difference. Now I'm excited for the future, and I've let go the past and I don't dwell on it anymore, because the past is the past. And I actually am grateful for the past, because it's helped me to find my path, and it's strengthened me. And it's a good thing. Everything happens for a reason, and I truly believe that. It is what it is.
Absolutely, and I'm so agreeing with you on that, because I've been proven over and over and over again that whenever you listen to your intuition, it's always the right decision. It never leads you astray, and it's
never.
It strengthens. It's almost like a skill that we are relearning to listen to our intuition. And I love it when you say never make a decision out of fear, because sometimes we do that. I'm so into it, and sometimes I still make a decision based on fear. And most of the time it's fear of missing out on things, right? But then afterwards, why in the hell did I do that? That was so not what I needed to do right now. And it happens, it still creeps in, because we still have our ego to deal with as well at the same time. But the more we still embrace that we have made that decision that wasn't the best for us or people around us, we can then learn from that and say, okay, I can see it now. That was a fear-based or a worry-based or a lack-based decision. We need to get back into trusting. Sometimes it's just takes for a minute or two, but we have to keep, and it is a skill. And if we don't practice that every day, we're going to lose it again.
We are. And I think it's also got to do with the fact that whenever we've been trained through society to when we think about the future, to think about what can go wrong. And that, of course, goes back to our caveman days, when one wrong mistake and we're dead. But we're not like that anymore. We've evolved. And so we don't, I try to, whenever I'm making a decision that affects the future, I think about what could go right as opposed to what could go wrong. I don't even give the what could go wrong airtime. I just focus on what could go right. And if it's a big enough right and it feels right, I do it. But I just think too many people are focused on worrying about what can go wrong all the time. But it's just as likely to go right, because it hasn't happened. It's not. It's in the future. It hasn't happened. Stop worrying about it.
Yes, exactly. And I also teach at a college 2 days a week, and I often say to the students there, I go, fear is literally a false expectation that appears real.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
We are expecting that it's going to happen, but it's not even there yet. So why would we worry about it?
No, and we manifest it because we're looking for it. And if we start
focusing on what we don't want to happen.
Yeah. And this is exactly what the money mindset is. We stop looking for ways to save money and to protect ourselves, and start using all that energy and space to start looking for new opportunities to make money, and ways that we can just up-level our lifestyle and stuff like that, because there's nothing wrong with living a nice life. There's nothing wrong with it. We're put on this earth to experience and grow and live a beautiful life. It's just like trees and plants. They start little and then they grow and they blossom. And that's exactly what we should do with money. There's nothing wrong with blossoming in our finances. It's a beautiful thing, and it can be shared with people we love and people who we want to help. And it's much better off in our hands than somebody who doesn't necessarily have those good intentions.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's wonderfully said, for sure. Is there anything that you want to leave the audience with? Do you have a tip that they may be able to implement straight away for themselves?
I think basically just decluttering. I think that's the most important tip. Whether you want to start with your wardrobe or your wallet or your desk, declutter at least 10 to 25% of your stuff. Start in one area so it's not too overwhelming, and just do that one little area and see the shift. Even if it's just your phone. Like I decluttered, because I did Bianca, you'll remember did a 5-week Feng Shui prescription on myself, which is part of what I want to do for my new program. So I tried it on myself, and it's really hard to Feng Shui yourself because you really don't have much perspective. But one of the things that I did was declutter my phone. So I had 450 odd voicemail messages, for example, that were in my phone that I hadn't even listened to. So I took a deep breath and I deleted the whole lot because most of them were like a month old at least or more. So, the moment has gone, and I deleted it all. And then, like, as soon as I pressed that button, I had a phone call from someone super important in my life that I hadn't heard from in a long time. And it was like the universe was saying, oh, thank God, now you've made room for me to reconnect you with all these people. So it can be electrical, it can be emotional, by putting fears out on paper, decluttering that way. It can be physical with your wardrobe or your house or your room, even your car. Maybe start there, declutter your car, wash it, tell it you love it, and you just upgrade. You up-level your good feelings in your life.
Yeah. And I learned from you as well to declutter your hearing. I learned from you as well to declutter your keyring.
Oh yes, you have to declutter. Oh my God, our friend Summer had so many keys on her keyring, and I'm just like, and it was like this. Did you see it? Like, I can't remember if you saw it, but it was massive. And she pulled it out one day, and I'm like, what are you doing with all those keys? And she's like, I don't even know what half of them are. And I'm like, have you ever used them? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, get rid of them. So the next day I saw her, she only had 3 keys on there. She went from like 15 to 3, and all these shit started happening. And she's like, oh my God, it's great. Like, I just feel so light. And
15 keys is huge.
Yeah. And it's just, it only takes little things. Like, you don't need to do too much. In fact, I often say to people to only do little changes once a week or so and spread it out, because if you change too many things at once, it creates a bit of chaos because your life's rebalancing. So you need to keep it calm and steady. Yeah. Have a
beautiful.
For it. Yeah.
Love it. Wow, I've so enjoyed this conversation. We can talk for hours. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Julia, for your time and sharing your expertise. I absolutely loved it, and I hope that the audience has really enjoyed this as well. If you are watching and you have questions, please comment below. I'm sure Julia and especially myself, we will monitor the comments and we will answer all your questions. And after the live, I will share some of the links as well if you want to find out more about how Julia can help you in terms of your money mindset. Then you can contact her as well. Raven is just posting, this was so interesting again. Thank you. Loved your ways of anger management. That's great. Wonderful. And thank you for getting up so early to join us too. Sorry, Julia.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Bianca. I really loved being here, and thanks for sending me the invitation, because I was just so honoured to be here. So thank you, and thanks for breaking through my Facebook Live fear. No more fears, right? I am free. It's happened. All right. Yay.
We've Facebook Live free.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's actually not that hard, and it's the same with money. Once I show people how to do things and how to reprice their business stuff and everything, and have difficult conversations that they thought were difficult about money, and once they have these conversations the right way without this emotional burden, they're like, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner? It's really not that hard. And I'm like, I know. Like, we can't see the wood for the trees. We just get so stuck in our own mind and our own little programs that are going on. And it's not real.
That's right. Absolutely.
Mm.
Thank you once again. Everybody
Thank
else,
you.
have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and we will see you again next week on Metta Musings and Mugs. Bye for now.
Bye.